Hi everyone, this is Veronique with Travel the World, and thank you very much. Today is joining me Lisa Mullins, and she's the sales manager, my sales manager with Universal. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And
Hi, thank you for having me. Good to be here.
I have a few questions regarding the Universal in Orlando.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about any new attractions that are opening up or haven't opened this year.
Yes, absolutely. So I suppose I should start by just being clear that actually Universal Orlando is now open. So we reopened our gates in June. So we've been open about 6 months now already, even with obviously the situation of this year. But it's been going very, very successfully. We have all of our health and safety protocols in place. Health and safety being the priority. So it's going very well. It's still the fun universal destination that people would expect. And I mean, in keeping with that, when we reopened in June, we launched our newest attraction, which is our Born Stuntacular show. So that is a live action show in Universal Studios, and you follow Jason Byrne on all his adventures around the world. The idea of this show, so it's a live stunt show, and it blurs the lines between stage and screen. So it's super immersive, amazing technology. The sets, are literally out of this world. You move from Dubai to London to Miami to Morocco. It's
wow.
really, really impressive show. So that's our newest thing that opened this summer. But we have also announced that our next newest attraction will be our Velocicoaster in the Jurassic World area of Islands of Adventure. So that's due to open next summer. So another very exciting, industry-leading roller coaster attraction coming on board next summer. So
yeah, that sounds great.
Yes.
And what do you say? How much time do guests usually spend at the parks to have enough time to experience both parks?
Yeah, well, so we actually have three theme parks. So we've Universal Studios, we have Islands of Adventure, and we also have Volcano Bay, which is our water
The
theme.
water park, oh yeah.
Now, it did go through a seasonal closure just over the winter, but it's reopening on March 1st.
Okay.
So when we have all three parks, we really recommend at least a 4-night stay with a 3-day, 3-park ticket. That's as a minimum. Each park will take a day minimum. So to get to experience all three, at least 3 days, 4-night stay, but potentially, if you could give 5 or 6 nights, that's really going to give you that rounded universal experience where you can do absolutely everything. Maybe go back to a park a second time if you particularly enjoy one over the other. So, depending on how much time, but as a minimum, 3 days, 3 parks, and a 4-night stay.
Okay, and I think especially with younger kids, it might be better to have a few extra days.
Yes.
That way you're not in a rush. You can, take
Absolutely.
half a day
And what's great about Universal, in Orlando is it's very compact. So in a lot of cases, once you have a park to park ticket, you can come and go as you please. So a lot of people will maybe spend the morning in the parks and then maybe go back to the hotel and have an afternoon by the pool. Or you could do maybe a half day in, as we say, the dry parks. So Universal Studios or Islands of Adventure. And then when the Florida heat gets a bit too much, you could maybe spend the rest of the afternoon in Volcano Bay. So, I do think there's a lot of flexibility depending on which hotel you stay in. In some cases, for example, the Hard Rock Hotel, you can walk from the Hard Rock and be in Universal Studios in about a 4 to 5 minute walk. So
that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort, they have their own private entrance into Volcano Bay. So again, depending on where you're located, you can be in and out of the parks in minutes. So it's really, a lot of flexibility.
And do you feel if families, let's say with kids younger than 5, is there one park that is better, or does every park have something for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I would say every park does have something for sure. But I mean, a couple of the standout areas. First of all, we are home to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So that is, of course, a huge attraction for kids of all ages.
Yeah.
We have 2 parts. We have the original Hogsmeade, and then we also have Diagon Alley, and they are connected by the Hogwarts Express train. Excuse me. So that train is like an attraction in itself. It comes straight out of the movie, straight out of the book. So that's always a big reason that people are coming to enjoy Universal. But then, for example, we also have Seuss Landing in Islands of Adventure is one of my favorite areas, obviously based on all the Dr. Seuss stories and characters. But it really depends. For example, we at Universal love to say that it's all about a mindset and not an age. Because, for example, I just referenced Seuss Landing. So we have the high in the sky trolley train ride.
Yeah.
And safer over in Universal, in Islands of Adventure, we also have Skull Island Reign of Kong. Very, very different attractions.
Yeah.
The height restriction there is both 36 inches.
Okay.
So it very much depends on what that child is interested in or is excited to do. So it really is more about a mindset. I would also, though, highlight Volcano Bay. So we have 2 dedicated areas for smaller kids in Volcano Bay. We have Runamukka Reef and Tatiki Reef. So 2, as I say, dedicated areas for smaller kids, super colorful, interactive. You know, kids can literally spend the entire day in those dedicated areas in Volcano Bay. So we definitely do have something for all across all 3 parks.
And what if somebody says, oh, I really don't like rides, and think that, no, if they only go to the park, they have to do rides all day? How about if you have a family where there are people that don't like rides?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, Universal is known for some of its big ticket attractions. You know, we have the Hulk, we have Rip Ride Rocket, some of those really extreme coasters. But on the other side, we have, as I mentioned, our brand new Born Stuntacular show. We have our cinematic spectacular show at the Lagoon. You know, we have all of our different character interactions. You can still see different characters, get some photo ops around the park. I mentioned as well that the Wizarding World, if anyone is a fan of Harry Potter stories, it's literally a different world. You step into in those walls and it's like transporting you into the Harry Potter story, and even without doing the rides.
Yeah, so, and you can get a wand, right? And you can walk around and find these secret little areas.
Yes. And so you have 2 options with wands. You can get a standard one or the interactive one where you can cast spells as you go around the Wizarding World. And then, of course, there's also the dining. We have some phenomenal restaurants and bars across the entire destination. And, you know, our hotels are stunning. We have 8 on-site hotels. So even if the parks are not the main focus of your vacation, you can still come enjoy that Florida climate, get some great service in some of our beautiful hotels. So still a perfect option for a family getaway where there is something for everybody.
Ah, that's great. And so let's talk hotels a little bit. I know you have some new hotels opening.
Yes. So our newest addition to the hotel portfolio is our Universal's Endless Summer Resort, and they are actually a value category. So there's 2 properties. Surfside Inn and Suites opened last year, and then Dockside Inn and Suites, the sister hotel, was originally due to open in March of this year. Of course, then lockdown happened, so we had to pause a little bit on that. We've just opened the doors for Dockside Inn and Suites this week on December 15th. So that is our newest hotel. No one had stayed in that hotel previously. And a big selling feature of those value category, and really also people ask, well, what does value mean? And the way I would explain it, it's just more of a casual feel to the hotel. So it still has everything that you need or would expect in a hotel. Like, you know, we have a food court option, but it's more of a counter service as opposed to a formal sit-down dining option. But we have full service Starbucks in the lobby. You know, you have self-parking, which is not a valet option. So still everything you need, but a more casual setting. But that's reflected in the very competitive price point on the value hotels. Another great feature, over half of the rooms are 2-bedroom suites that will sleep 6.
Oh, that's great.
Very attractive for a family, you know, giving you a little bit more space at a more competitive pricing while still, you know, allowing you to stay on site at Universal and get those benefits.
Now, looking at the 2 resorts, they have similar themes, but what would you say are the main difference if a family wants to decide which one is the better one for us?
Okay, well, yeah, they are very similar. We call them sister properties. The only real difference is probably the theming. So Surfside Inn and Suites has a lot of blue kind of water tone colors. Obviously surfing is kind of the vibe as you go through the hotel. However, when you come across to Dockside, it's more sitting at the dock in the evening. So it's a lot more sunset colors, you know, kind of sunset decor as you go around. The other main difference is Dockside is the bigger of the 2. So just depending, maybe some people might prefer a smaller feel to a hotel. Surfside has just under 800 rooms. However, Dockside will have over 2,000 rooms. So just a bigger feel to the property. But the same services, same room type. And then one other small difference, I would say, Dockside, the newest one, has an indoor lobby bar. So that is just something slightly different. Surfside has a bar, but it's located out by the pool area. So just a couple of small differences. Very, very similar properties.
Yeah. Okay. Now tell us a little bit about, when people visit the park now,
Mhm.
um, how it will be a little bit different than it usually is.
Yeah.
What should people expect?
Okay, so yeah, I did mention earlier that we reopened in June. So,
Yeah.
we're kind of working in this new world where we have a lot of new protocols, new health and safety guidelines in place. What I will say, however, though, is we are now very well versed. As I say, 6 months is a long time. The team members are very familiar with all of our new processes. So it's running quite smoothly. But as far as you guys coming as a guest, the main things that you will come across will be the temperature check.
Mm-hmm.
So every guest before they enter the park will get their temperature taken, and then every day it's a different colored wristband. So you get issued a wristband to show that you're current for that day.
Okay.
So you just have to do it one time and then you're free to move around. Or if you're staying in one of the resorts, you can actually do it right there in the lobby as you're heading out that morning to come. So it's pretty quick. The second big thing then is, of course, the face coverings. So all team members, all guests are required to wear a face covering that covers from the nose and below the chin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's across the board, even while you are on attractions.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of stuff, obviously the cleaning is a huge element. You will see team members constantly cleaning. We were already obviously very good at that, but we've even brought it to the next level. Before you board an attraction, a team member will put hand sanitizer into every guest's hand so that you are, you can see and you're confident that every single person has sanitized before they ride. Also, we have changed how you board attractions. So you will now only board with your travel party. So you'll never be seated with someone who's not in your travel group. And of course, socially distanced as well. So we have markers all across the resort. As you go through the different queue systems, we have that marked out. Our team members are on the, on the lookout to make sure people are sticking by that. And then we've introduced things, for example, on the app. So a couple of our attractions, you can do a virtual line. Meaning you can go in on the app and you can reserve a time to come back for that attraction and then go and do something else while you wait. So that you're
that's great.
Yeah, so you kind of cut out that need of standing in a physical line. So, we really have put in as much as possible. Some changes are still in place. For example, we normally would have our projection show on the Hogwarts Castle.
Yeah.
That is not happening right now because that is something that generates a lot of people, can get quite crowded when we have those shows.
Yeah.
For example, things like that we are put on hold right now. So we're making sure that we can keep people dispersed and there is no crazy crowds in any single one area.
Yeah. Well, I think that sounds good. Thank you very much. I think that was a good short. I know there's much more to Universal than what we touched today, but I think it gives a good little overview.
Yeah, and I think it helps. A lot of people don't honestly realize that we have 3 full theme parks. And I think that really will help when people are trying to make their plans and decide how long they might need. Because we've grown so much, and to really come and experience everything, I do recommend highly staying on site on one of our properties.
Yeah.
And then at least a 3-day, 3-park ticket should get you all the fun stuff.
Yeah, and you get extra perks when you stay on site, and it's much more convenient.
You do. Yes. So a big one is early park admission, which means you can get into the parks an hour before they're open to the public. So you get a little bit of a head start on everything. Another big feature, I mentioned a little bit earlier about how everything is quite accessible. So the transportation to get you around the resort is very quick, very easy. And then another big feature, if you stay, so we talked a bit before about our value hotels. But we actually have 4 different categories. So we have value, prime value, preferred, and premier level. So obviously just depending on people's taste or people's budgets, whatever works better for them. Yeah. But I will say if you stay at one of our 3 premier resorts, that comes with Unlimited Express included with your stay. So that is a huge added value. Yeah. Unlimited Express applies to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, and it means you can cut your wait time for the attractions.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of something to consider. Definitely have a look at the pricing, and in some cases it's quite surprising that it's not that much more to upgrade to a premier level, and then you get that benefit.
I've noticed that in the past. I always compare, and sometimes you look at surprise.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can also purchase an express ticket separate, so you can see an actual pricing, so you know what value you've built in. And in a lot of cases, the upgrade to the room will not be as much as purchasing, however many separate express passes. So always a good tip to remember.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
My
And,
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching today, and contact me if you have any questions regarding Universal, or if you want to plan a trip to Universal. I'll be glad to help you.